name is Andrew Hills. I have written several books on tanks, and perhaps my best known is my first, The Tanks of TOG. I started writing that book in around 2010, as I was simply fascinated by the engineering principles and attributes of the tank. Further to that, by way of background, the TOG was, along with the German Tiger, the tank which more than any other stood out in my childhood memories from the Tank Museum. I can also claim a very loose personal connection to the vehicle as well by way of the firm of Stotherton Pitt, as my grandfather apprenticed with them starting in the 1920s. He was sure to point this out when we went round the museum. Now, back to the Tanks of TOG book. Although I started in 2010, it was not published until 2017 because the research just kept getting deeper and deeper and revealing more and more interesting and, frankly, often confusing information. Publication of the Tanks of TOG, sadly, came after the TOG-2 had been introduced into a popular online computer game. It is precisely because of this game and the rather awful memeing that has followed the vehicle that I think people have lost sight of the real success and value of the tank, and that is why I've embarked on this series. In 2020, during the problems of COVID-19 affecting the UK, with the Tank Museum in Bovington closed, I was asked to do a very short defence of TOG-2 as part of their coverage of Tankfest. I've put this segment as a separate video which you can watch in the link below. I will cover other vehicles and items etc. other than TOG stuff, but I think the TOG is the best place to start and try and put an end to a lot of the ignorance around the project, which simply continues with a lot of ill-informed videos and online commentary. To start then, we're going to look at the vehicles in context of the war in which Britain was engaged, the men involved and the philosophy behind their design. This will be followed with each episode looking at a specific part of the design: armour, engine, firepower, suspension. If, as we go along, you have any questions, then please pop them in the comments below and I'll address them in the next or most relevant video. Here, however, for now, as this is me introducing the whole topic, I'm sure there are plenty of burning questions people will have, and I would like to answer as many of them as possible as we go along. So, once again, pop them in the comments section below, and as I work through various elements of the work of the old gang, I will address them. As a small aid to the series, I will intersperse the video with various photos and video of the men and machines to illustrate my points. We also have this shiny silver TOG-2. Before you ask, it's not made of silver, it's a couple of blocks of scrap 4x2 construction timber glued together, which I carved into a TOG shape for my son. I have not yet had time to carve a TOG-1 from scrap. However, I do think the medium of scrap wood is appropriate for the TOG, not because it is junk, far from it, but as you will come to see, the TOGs were actually a complex blend of very simple and straightforward features combined with some very interesting and cutting edge at times technology. Now, I know some of you may find that hard to believe, but I need you, the viewer, to detach your preconceptions of the vehicle from what you might enjoy in various memes about it being long. I mean, yes, it's long, and that's for a reason. Or about it being very rectangular. Again, yes, that's for a reason. And worse still, your preconceptions perhaps based on the way it performs in a certain online computer game. Now, I am not mentioning the game because I know you all know which one it is, and I have to state for the record that I have worked for that company as a consultant on various tank lines and on making changes to this tank in their game, and that a lot of the changes I requested to make it real to life were still not made last time I checked. So with that declaration of a conflict of interest out of the way, let's hear your questions about why the tank, not the game, and what it is that confuses or interests you about the vehicle and why it ended up the way it is. If you like this series on the TOG or any other vehicles or items which I may cover, then please follow FWD Publishing on Facebook and on WordPress, or my author page, Andrew Hills, on Amazon.com. Links are below in the description. There is also a Patreon page as well if you would be so kind as to make a donation to help support this channel, my work, my research and further books. Thank you very much.